What is a caregiver? A caregiver is a person who is in direct partnership with their loved one. It could be a family member, a friend, or someone who's a congregant in a church. It's someone that you know well enough if they've called on you to help them with their health care. A caregiver can give a ride to a doctor's office, do errands, grocery shop, or read to the person. The caregiving role is so broad, and part of the call to care effort is to really help caregivers see that all these broad things that we do, which we sort of take for granted, are really part of that caregiving role. What is the importance of a caregiver? A caregiver actually is a part of the healthcare team, and I don't know if we recognize that as much as we should. But I would love for the caregivers to understand that we value them in terms of the understanding that they have about their loved one, namely because they are there 24/7, 365 days a year. Oftentimes, we have a snapshot in the provision of care for their loved ones. They're there for the long haul, they're there for the long haul, they're there for that journey, and when they give us that information, we really value that, and we value what they do. Why is it important for caregivers to find time to take care of themselves? Caregivers are often an example of altruism. They're so devoted to the person for whom they're caring that they don't think of themselves as central to the care process. And so, I encourage them to realize that they should look after themselves. If not for themselves, then because if they're not looking after themselves, they're not being a good caregiver for the person they're looking after. It's no good if something happens to them, whether or not they care about themselves. So I encourage people to make sure that they do some very basic things. First of all, make sure that they're on top of their own health, that they keep their doctor's appointments, that they take their medicines. Secondly, that they notice their own psychological state and that they reveal it either to friends or professionals. Occasionally, caregivers need advice about whether they need professional help for their psychological state. Then there are some very practical things that caregivers need to consider. One is to learn how to be caregivers. We typically have different roles, different relationships with the people for whom we are caring, and so it doesn't come naturally to go from life to being a caregiver. Learning to be a caregiver is a process, so I encourage caregivers to see it that way, that they have a role change and that they need to evolve from whatever their role was to becoming a caregiver. Thank you for watching our video. Like, comment, and share. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel.